Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Hey. Karl Bryan coming at you. Thanks for tuning in to Business Coaching Secrets. I've created this show to help business coaches build predictable revenue streams in the businesses that they've always dreamed of. I've been that business coach riding the inevitable roller coaster and wondering where my next client was going to come from. One day I realized if you motivate an idiot, they do stupid things quicker. I subsequently built a $5.5 million coaching company and used to do $400,000 a month in new small business coaching clients. Therefore, I built Business Coaching Secrets, and it's going to bring you the strategies, the tactics, and in many cases, the experts required to help you realize the business coaching firm of your dreams. On that note, I've got a very special guest here with me. He's been bringing leadership to top executives and business coaches for 25 years. One of the most experienced and most effective business coaches on the planet. I've personally known him for approximately a decade. He's a family man with 3 beautiful children and his beautiful wife, Lisa. His primary motivation is around helping business owners and executives succeed. He's been 15 years on the trot as a successful business coach. He's been a 5-time Executive Coach of the Year with ActionCOACH. He's been a 3-time Best Client Results of the Year with ActionCOACH and the 2019 ActionCOACH Partner of the Year. Actually, you're also in the Action Hall of Fame. So he recently co-authored a fantastic book with Brad Sugars called Pulling Profits Out of a Hat. I would like you all to welcome a friend and a talented business coach, Mr. Monte Wyatt. Monte, you with me, bud?
Yes, I am, Karl. Appreciate the opportunity to chat with you today.
You bet, bud. I'm looking forward to this. In fact, I've been looking forward to it all week. So tell me, I want to get straight into it, bud. So what got you started as a business coach?
Well, I spent approximately 14 years in corporate America and was frustrated with how leadership was and management was, and I was traveling way too much. So a lot of frustrations, and couldn't find the job or career that I wanted. And then we found the industry of business coaching, and it really matched my experience. I've spent years in sales training, sales management, marketing management. And instead of traveling the world to do that, I can now help people locally. And so about 2004, that's when I began my coaching practice, and really love making small changes in organizations that make just huge results.
I love it. So you'd agree that you're well known for getting massive results for your clients, right? This is the way that you've, climbed the echelon and become the popular coach that you are. What would you say, what's the secret sauce for getting these unbelievable results with business owners and top executives?
I'll use it in just a couple words. The first one is congruent. I have to be congruent in my business. What I teach my clients, I have to do myself. And when I do it myself, I actually get better at it in helping my clients. And so that congruency thing is just absolutely huge. And the second thing is I'm always learning. Every week I'm reading, whether it's magazines or book summaries or audios, you name it. The more I learn, the more I can help my clients. And so if we're not congruent, if we're not learning, we can't get results with our clients. So that to me is the secret sauce right there.
I love it. It reminds me, I often say, when I do a speaking event, if I take on a new topic, say I was going to do, social media for business coaches or something along those lines. When I do the presenting, I would say, let's say there's 100 people in the audience. My belief is that I collectively over the entire 100, I will learn more than all of them, right?
Yes.
And it's one of those things you got to get out there and you got to do this stuff. Okay, so on that note, have you found? How do you ride that inevitable roller coaster where you've got top clients, you're busy as heck, but then the lead generation drops off a little bit, and you got to catch up with the lead generation? How have you managed that up and down cycle that most business coaches follow?
That's a great point, and it is about consistency and that congruency as well. I teach my clients that you have to have consistent marketing. So no matter how busy my clientele load gets, I still have to do marketing. And a lot of my marketing is online through social media. A lot of my marketing is speaking engagements. A lot of my interactions get referrals. And that's the powerful thing. When you get results, they want to tell their friends. They want to tell their business owner friends and executive friends. And so the better I do with my clients, the more referrals I get. The better I do in how I present and I interact with my clients. They want me to speak at their industry conventions and their internal organizational activities.
I love it. So, Pulling Profits Out of a Hat. So this is the book that you co-authored with Brad Sugars. It's a #1 bestseller already. I've read it myself, by the way. Fantastic book. Everybody listening, guys, you've got to get a hold of this thing. Tell me, what was the inspiration behind putting pen to paper and getting these thoughts down and writing this book?
It's probably been about a 8 to 10 year journey. My focus, starting about 8 to 10 years ago, I started working with mid-market companies. And when I say mid-market, it's greater than 10 million and all the way up to $1 billion in revenue. And so the more I worked with them, the more things I saw that they needed to work on. And those companies that did really well, they had certain disciplines. And so I focus on creating discipline inside organizations. And really, over the years, we've identified 5 disciplines that every business has to get right to be successful. And so about 3 years ago, after I've been, implementing a lot of these concepts, Brad says, "Hey, let's write a book about this. Let's take it to a bigger scale." And that's what we did. So it's been quite a journey over the last number of years. But the concepts I've been using with my clients for quite a while. It's just last few years putting it pen to paper.
Beautiful. Okay, so the 5 areas, found that to be fabulous and was reading the book. So could you rattle those off for me?
You bet. 5 disciplines that every business has to get right. The first one is strategy. Second one is business development. Third one is people. Fourth one, execution. And fifth, mission. And there's massive depth to each of these, and then specific content, but those are the 5 disciplines that most businesses don't even put it as a discipline. They think it as, well, that's somebody's job, and sometimes it gets done, sometimes it doesn't, but it's a discipline that a business has to have, not just around people. These are disciplines that an organization must have.
Okay, so I want to start with #1, strategy. Which I'm a huge fan of, obviously, being a business coach for many, many years myself. I find that people are significantly, way too tactical. They don't even know the difference between a tactic and a strategy, quite frankly. I love the way you guys kind of outline strategy. Could you give me, if you were just to encapsulate strategy, the importance of, maybe give me an example of how you see strategy working well and adding zeros to one of your clients or a business coach listening?
Absolutely. Part of strategy is getting clear on how we're going to win as a company. Strategy is not about a product. Strategy is about how, as an organization, we're going to win. And in order to define how you're going to win, you have to know what is the opportunity or need in the market that we're going to fill. And we've got to be clear on, is there a true need that as an organization we're going to go after and fill? Once you find that opportunity, it's how do we create leverage? How do we able to scale in it? And are we able to market in that? Is it easy to get in front of our clientele? And once you've answered those questions and to get clear on how we're going to win, you should be able to put your strategy into a clear single sentence so that everyone in your organization knows exactly what we're after and how we're going to win. And most organizations can't state their strategy in, less than pages. I'm talking about one sentence. And I love just getting that clarity so you can communicate it clearly internally. And this, once you get this really clear, it is something that you keep inside your organization. That's your differentiating advantage once you've identified how you're going to win.
Okay, could you give me an example of one of those sentences?
Absolutely. And I'm going to give you one. I'm not going to give you one of my clients because, again, they're powerful and they want to keep them secret so they can win. But there's one that we all can read about, and it's in the book on Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines did a great job of this, and they've done it probably 20, 30 years ago, where they defined their one sentence strategy, and it's simply wheels up. Knowing that how we will win is that when the airplanes are in the air, we can't make money. We're not going to win if we have delays, if we have upset customers, if we can't load the bags on time, if we can't unload the bags on time. And so every employee within Southwest knows that their job is to help get wheels up. And when our wheels are up, we can make money, we can be profitable, and we're going to win.
I love it. So a contrarian point of view of that is that a plane on the ground can't make money. So wheels up. Like that's 2 words. That's not even a sentence. That's 2 words. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's
Absolutely.
awesome. Okay,
how simple is that, though? That everybody knows that clarity, and that's one of my early on objectives with every client is to bring that clarity of how are we going to win, and how can we get that so clear that every person knows their function and how it supports it.
Yeah, but also Gary Vaynerchuk has a concept that I love, and he describes it as a North Star. It's not identical, but it's very, very close to the way you describe strategy. And the premise of it is just that your North Star, like what is it that you're looking to achieve, right? And then so everything that you do, every day you go into work, every decision that you make, every employee meeting that you have, every new employee that you hire, it needs to move you closer to the North Star, or you don't take it on. It's just that simple. So I love that.
Absolutely.
In fact, actually, and then Facebook's was does it so. The example that I would give is Mark Zuckerberg. His North Star, and it's changed recently with the privacy and all these types of issues, but it was, does it help us grow? So if he was going to take on an interview, if he was going to take on, a staff member wanted to meet with him for 15 minutes, one question. He would listen to what they have to say for the first 30 seconds. His question inside his mind is, does it help us grow? If the answer is yes, he'd continue the meeting. If the answer was no, they were shown the door. It's all good. He's not upset, but it's just not going to help us grow. See you later. So love that. Okay, so number 2, business development. Can you do the same thing for me there? So encapsulate business development, what it means to you, what it means to adding zeros, and what it might mean to the business coaches listening in terms of how they could go about helping their small business clients.
You bet. And, I want to tie that into strategy and just keep the sentence. Strategy, when you have that clarity, it creates a sustainable business. Business development, you want to create a predictable business. And in order to have a predictable business, you do have to have consistency in your marketing. You have to have consistency in a sales process and how you acquire your clients. And lastly, you've got to have great customer service. And again, most businesses, it's a roller coaster ride for all 3. And I just did an event for a client with his sales team, and I mean, we're talking a very, very large company with thousands of employees, and they don't have a consistent sales process. And so how can we be predictable if we don't have a clear sales process that we're training our team to be following, and how to get best results? It's finding our way that's going to get the results that we want in our sales activity. Business development has to be predictable so we can see that the future is still going to be growing for us.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And would you no doubt you'd agree with me. You've coached many coaches over the years. That is the huge challenge for business coaches, where they've got some lead generation, they do some events, what have you. They get a couple of clients, they start working for the clients, and then they forget about the lead gen, right? And then they have attrition, because we all have it, right? People don't get coached forever all the time, most definitely not. And so now you lose the clients, and you're starting from square one with absolutely no momentum to go find your next lot of clients. And then and then you do it again, and it's rinse and repeat, only in a negative fashion, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that. So it's predictable business development. Everybody listening, guys, you got to have a predictable way of having business development, knowing where your next clients are coming from. And again, the book, guys, you got to understand the book lays this out on a silver platter for you, so you know exactly what he's talking about and exactly how to go about doing it for yourself and, super importantly, for your clients. Okay, so number 3 is people, right? So talk to me a little bit about people, bringing them on, the role that they play in growing a business that adds zeros and kicks a little bit of backside.
All right, gonna keep building. So strategy creates sustainability. Business development is predictability. Our people discipline has to create stability in an organization. And, you know, it's just become common that people leave frequently the organizations they work for. They stay 2-3 years, then they move to the next one. Having a stable workforce will create greater opportunities for your organization to grow. And so inside the people discipline, it's about creating leadership. And leadership is the first thing that has to be done. We have to learn how to lead ourselves. We have to learn how to be a leader in the organization. It's not about title, it's about behavior. And we also have to learn how to develop our team so they can do their best job possible. So many organizations, day one, here's your desk, here's your computer, good luck. You've got to train people to be best at their job. You've got to give them the tools. That's talent development. And the third key, you got leadership, first key. The second key is talent development. The third key is you've got to have great recruitment. You know, to have a stable workforce, how are we attracting the right audience that we want to work in our organization, that we want to be in a part of our team? And it is about the right fit. How are we attracting those that match our culture, our core values? So the people of our business are so important. It's a discipline on its own that if we're not continually developing our team, not continually creating greater leaders in the business, we're not going to keep our clients. We're not going to keep our employees, and we're not going to have great engagement.
You know, I love it. It also reminds me of an example that I use often is that we all know that actor who gets stuck in the role, like, you know, maybe the comedian, they're always they're always dad, what have you. And what happens, they get, and notwithstanding, you know, one-hit wonders where all of a sudden they disappear. And a lot of the time, like if you are an actor, you need to generate leads, as in commercials, movies, TV shows, right? You must go to the auditions and actually, you know, there's 600 people auditioning. You need to be the one who wins it. So this is conversion. You need to fill the role. You got to do a bang up job when you show up. But then number 4, and the one I think that so many people drop once they have a little bit of success, is they stop the training, right? So not only is this so when we say people, we're not only talking about your staff and whatnot, but it's you as well, right? You've got to be like, Monte gets into the situation, like I've heard you just over this short period of time we've been together, you're constantly talking about, you know, the homework that you have done, what you've done over the years, right? Like even working with clients, they pay you $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year, both of which are opportunities to learn an enormous amount. And you've got to be training your staff, your people, but you also have to be training yourself. And it's other industries. So I give you that example as an actor, right? So that again, they can think, you know what I mean? Like it's a metaphor, all of a sudden means a little bit more. Like, are we the same? Are we the one-hit wonder that's only ever going to be able to help the dentist, right? So anyways, I like that. So people, okay, so the next one, and again, I think these are all building, right? That's where it appears big time. So execution is the next one.
Absolutely. You know, execution is all about consistency. How are we consistent, not only internal in the organization, but external? What are the processes that we have that we're running our business by so every customer, no matter who they talk to, is treated in a similar manner? You know, we've all got that restaurant that we go to because we like the wait staff. And if they're only working on Tuesday nights, we only go on Tuesday nights. Well, that's not good for the business. We've got to make sure as an organization that we have consistency. Yep, we want everybody to have their personality and their role, but this is how we treat people. This is how we interact. This is how we do things, our way of working. So a big part of execution is our processes, our internal ways of working. The next piece of execution is management. In people, we need leadership, but we also need management. And I look at it this way: you have to lead people and you manage processes. I think today that every business out there needs more leadership and more management. We manage the processes so we can get the results that we want. You can't manage people. No one wants to be managed. You're banging your head against the wall when you're trying to manage a person. Give them a process to follow, a way to do things that you want, no matter what their responsibility is. There should be a way of working that we get things done. And that's what gets managed. So we've got to have processes, we've got to have management, and we've got to have financial controls. If we're not managing the business well, our financials aren't good. And you don't manage financials, you manage the business so the financials will come through.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so 4 words that I just heard you say there that I wanted to come to. I want to make sure that everybody takes note of this. So 4 words, write these down, folks, commit them to memory. Lead people, manage process, right? Would you agree that those 2 get confused all the time, mixed up, if not totally ignored?
Oh, I think the world has taught us that if you're a manager, you're a leader. That's not necessarily the case. There can be some great managers that are poor leaders, but not every leader is a manager or should be a manager. Every person in an organization can and should be a leader. Leadership is about how you communicate, how you manage yourself and your time and your resources. It's management is something that we use to get accomplishment.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings me. So there's actually another 3-word phrase that I've written down that I also wanted to come to. So now's as good as time as any. So what would you say when I say discipline creates profit? Riff off of that for me.
All of these disciplines, if we don't have discipline in a business, how are we going to be profitable? Because if I have high turnover of my employees, I'm spending a lot of money recruiting, I'm spending a lot of money training, and probably I'm losing clients because I can't keep my employees as well. So I'm probably not able to keep clients. So I don't have consistent income. We have to have these 5 disciplines in order to make great profit. Because if we don't have discipline in a business, we don't have consistency. We don't have discipline in a business. We don't have stability. We don't have discipline. We're not going to have predictability. And that's just going to impact our future and our current state of profit.
Yep. Okay, do me a favor. I want you to drill down. I've got business coaches listening. I want you to talk to a specific business coach and talk to him about the discipline that he's likely or she is likely missing and costing them enormous profit. What are they not disciplined in and around?
I'm going to say of these 5 disciplines that we've talked about, it's the discipline of execution that most coaches lack. And I will say it this way, that I'm going to say a general statement, our knowledge base has outpaced our ability to implement. Coaches are great at learning and reading and going to conferences. So our knowledge base is high, but our knowledge base has outpaced our execution or ability to implement. And that's the discipline that every day, how are you implementing what you're teaching, or how are you implementing what you've learned? What are your processes that you are doing so you have a consistent business and that you are treating your customers the same every single week, every day, of how you're coaching, how you're making an impact, how you're getting results?
Yep. So make sure I heard what you just said. So what you'd be saying is there's a coach listening and he's been in the last 90 days or she has been to 3 different seminars. But what they haven't done is come home from the seminar and acted on it. They have, stayed in, the same boat that they were at before they went, and they've gone to the next seminar looking for the next breakthrough rather than implement on the last one. Correct?
You are absolutely right. And, that's a big part of us. We want to learn. We want to be that person that brings all this knowledge, but we have to implement it in our own practice. We have to implement it every single day ourselves.
Yep. Love it. Okay, cool. So that's execution, and excellent, by the way. So number 5 is mission. Talk to me a little bit about your take on mission and what it means to your clients and to some of the business coaches listening.
So here's what I'm going to tell you first, what it is not. The discipline of mission is not a mission statement. What the discipline of mission is about is creating an emotional connection. Every organization, every business, I don't care how small, how large, you should have an emotional connection with, number one, your internal team members, your employees. You also must have an emotional connection with your customers. And how we create that emotional connection, I think, are three different ways. Number one is our values, our culture. And we have to get clarity on what our core values are inside a business so we can hire appropriately, we can fire appropriately, we can make the best decisions that relate to our belief system and our behaviors as an organization. So that's our values. The second piece of mission is having a clear purpose. As I said, this isn't a mission statement. This is a clear purpose statement. Why are we in business? What drives us every day to get out of bed and do the absolute best that we can? Every person on the face of the earth and every business should have a clear, defined purpose. And so when the day goes bad, because we do have bad days, everybody has that roller coaster time, we can come back to what is our purpose? Why am I doing this every single day? And you absolutely have to have that clarity. And the third piece of mission, it's about giving back. When I say giving back as an organization, it has to be a discipline of how are we helping our communities grow? How are we helping our communities continue to get better? If we are a successful organization, we have to help our communities continue to be successful by adding more employees, by volunteering, by donating, by helping those less fortunate. That's giving back. That's having a discipline of mission.
I love it. Can you give me another example? Give me an example of a company out there that you think is on point and on mission.
I'm gonna talk about my organization just for a second, then I'll give another. But our company is Adding Zeros. Our purpose statement is profitable corporate citizenship. So every day I wake up, my purpose in Adding Zeros is to, as an organization, is to make sure that every client is profitable, number one. The second piece of that is that we are great citizens. And that means internally in the organization and externally in the organization. That is a powerful thing. When we have great citizenship, we're taking care of our employees, we're taking care of our communities, we're taking care of our customers. So that's our purpose statement, and that drives me every single day. I have a client. They've got about 500 employees, and they're in the agricultural industry. So I'm in the state of Iowa, a lot of ag businesses. Their purpose statement is helping farmers market and grow profitably. And their job every day is, how are we making our customers more profitable? They sell their inputs for their crops. They're here to help them market those inputs when they're ready to sell their crops. That is their focus. And that's been a new concept in the last 18 months. And just that purpose statement, helping farmers market and grow profitably. And that is about getting up every day that we are helping our clients best. And it's changed the attitude in their organization. So everybody is there for a clear reason.
I love it. That was excellent. A couple of good examples. I often, again, anybody who follows my emails and whatnot will probably know my story, but my big brother committed suicide over a business failing. So I'm constantly talking about, just through my emails, that marriages break up from lack of money 100-fold over breaking up over lack of love, right? Yep. And then mommy and daddy split up, and now we get to meet stepmom and stepdad, and we know how most kids feel about them. And then we hit the cigarettes, and then it's the weed, and then whatever else. And like as business, and then by the way, there's suicides, and believe me, there are suicides every single day. Where businesses are failing, and in some cases, not only a suicide, but it's just dad lives in the fetal position or mom lives in the fetal position over a failed business and becomes an incredibly poor parent for a period of years because it's just a very tough thing to get through and over. So when I speak to a business coach and we talk about, heaven forbid, a cold call, right? Like I meet a business coach and they would tell me they want to make 250 grand a year. They don't have a network. And then they tell me they can't cold call, right? Don't say, well, you might want to go and apply for a job because this is not going to work out for you. Goodbye. Right. But you get the idea. But what I say, but it's not about a cold call. It's like, I know the guy hung up with the guy who hangs up and screams at you and calls you, names that you don't want to be called. Believe me, he's the guy who needs you more than ever, right? Or the gal that needs you more than ever. So, it comes back to that always be kind. And I just, so the business coaches listening again, like, believe me, these business owners are struggling. These people are they're playing solitaire on their stinking phone, right? So as far as getting on mission, and that, again, Monte's giving you great examples of, carving up missions for companies. And then you guys ultimately want to do this for our clients, but I also want you guys to do this personally. It's absolutely, and no doubt you'd agree, but it's completely, when somebody gets their mission legitimately, Monte, it is, no doubt you've seen this time and time again, it is totally and utterly game changing for them. Is it not?
Absolutely, because this business is a mind game. It really is. And so when you get clarity on that purpose statement, your values, your discipline of mission, your mindset has totally changed. Your mindset has flipped from I can't do this to this is why I do this.
Yeah. So, okay, so we're talking, so adding zeros. So conceptually, I read that and then I automatically think of adding zeros to my bottom line, right? But there are other areas in your business where you can be adding zeros. Could you give me some examples of something outside of dollars and cents and revenues where I could add some zeros and everybody could help their clients add zeros?
Absolutely. And that is the concept. It is about adding zeros to revenue and profit, but there are so many other areas. Client retention. We can add zeros to the length of time clients do business with us. When we have great business development, great customer service, we will keep our clients longer. So we have more zeros in that retention. We keep employees longer, employee engagement. Those can be areas that we can measure and get greater zeros in, greater access for the future. The emotional connection, the volume of impact that we make in the marketplace, we can add zeros to the impact, or our volunteering time. It's about how do we want to make impact in our organization and in our communities and with our teams. And it's what are we measuring to show that we are successful. And adding zeros is about growth in every area of the business, not just revenue and profit. I look at it this way. Your revenue and profit grows because all of the other areas in your business have grown. And if we aren't focusing on retaining our team, retaining our clients, building a strong strategy for the future, we aren't doing those things, we can't grow our revenue and profit. So every area of the business can grow.
Yeah. Love it. Okay. So look, you're the doctor as far as I'm concerned, as far as getting results for your clients. One of the challenges that I've always found, like, you're working with a business coach and it's like they sign up a client and let's say it's $1,000 a month, it's $2,000 a month, it's $5,000 a month, doesn't matter, right? Like the nominal amount, let's just call it $1,000 a month. And then over the first 90 days, I've always found that you establish, like over the first 90 days in particular, I don't get necessarily like, you're paying me $1,000 a month and then our deal is 1 hour a week we get together and talk, right? Well, over the first 90 days, if that's all you're doing with your client, there's a really good chance that you're going to lose this client, right? So I always talk about over the first 90 days, you got to do whatever it takes, including jumping on a plane, driving in your car, meeting with these people, speaking to their staff, etc., like going above and beyond. But if you establish that relationship over the first 90 days, this is how you go about taking on a 9-year client, right? But again, the coach is, I'm too busy. And then what they're paying me to do is show up a weekly basis, and then I show up on a weekly basis. So my question for you, and I'm guessing no doubt you'd agree with that because I know what your results are like. What do you take on a new client over the first 90 days? Give me some Monte Wyatt magic and what you do with these guys to, what have you found to work really, really well in the first 90 days coaching your clients? And where do you find yourself going to consistently?
One of the first things that I have to understand about my clients, and I do this even in the sales process, in our conversations, I have to understand what is their ceiling that is holding them back right now. What are they hitting their head against? Is it their marketing? Is it their team? Is it their leadership? Is it their activity? And I want to find the one area that we're going to make adjustment in that's going to get some quick wins. A lot of times communication can get a quick win just by setting expectations and taking different action. Sometimes clear expectations to our team of what we want. So a lot of the time it's listening to us, listening to the client by asking the right questions to understand and go deeper, because they're giving us surface issues. We have to dig deeper and find the root cause of what's keeping them from making any progress. And that's what we have to focus on immediately. And after every conversation, I'm challenging them to take a new action, challenging them to adjust something in their business to get results. We can't sit and wait till, well, I got to go through this, and this before I can give them some ideas to act on. No, we got to give them actions immediately. And we've got to understand which actions are going to change their life immediately. And they may not feel it right away, but they change some small things in their business, and they are going to make some amazing results. But we've got to get to the root issue. And most people, and I know that's a generic statement, but most people are going to stop at the surface issue, that whatever the customer says. No, we got to go deeper. How long has that been happening? Why is that doing that? Because more than likely, it's a behavior that owner or that executive is doing every day that's keeping that business back.
I love it. So again, but just going deeper is so, because the answer they give you is not the real answer, right?
Absolutely.
So you got to go deeper and you got to work that out. And again, 1 hour a week over the first 90 days is probably not going to get to the root of this problem. It's not going to overcome the challenge. So over the first 90 days, you got to dig in a little bit, do a little bit extra. But this is how you get this massive win and these long-term clients. So I like it. So Mr. Monte Wyatt, so tell me a little bit about what you're up to. You guys have launched, you put together some intellectual property, and give me a real quick rundown of what you guys are up to, you and Brad Sugars.
One of the things that we're doing with the launch of this book, we've also launched a new company called Adding Zeros. And with that concept and the concepts in pulling profits out of a hat, we are wanting to help more coaches with intellectual property to help your clients create these disciplines. So we are licensing with coaches to use this intellectual property to be a part of our team. I just did my first class, and we've got coaches already in Japan, Indonesia, throughout the United States, and we just started a couple months ago. And so I'm really excited about taking these concepts of discipline into more organizations, and more especially not just small businesses, but the mid-market, 10 million and higher, all the way up to $1 billion. They need just as much help because they've grown faster. They're growing fast that their inside can't keep up, and they need discipline. So that's our objective, is to help organizations through our licensed facilitators.
I love it. And then the lead into that is the book. So I would imagine you would encourage everybody to grab this book and grab it immediately. So could you help them with where they can go about finding you, firstly, and then also finding the book?
You bet. You can find me at montewyatt.com, MonteWyatt.com, or addZerosNow.com. You can learn more about Adding Zeros, the organization. The book, Pulling Profits Out of a Hat, you can get it online at Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, all the places that you buy your favorite books, you can get it there. And it's just amazing. I love, they're even in the airports. I was traveling last week, and I walked through an airport bookstore, and man, here it was. So I had to take a picture of myself near the book in the airport. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Brother, it's a dream come true. It is, man. So a high five for you, man. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. And like I said, you're one of the good guys, man. Legit 15-year coach, kick some butt, taking some names, and it's an absolute honor both to have you as a friend and also to have you in the network. So, man, I want to say thank you on behalf of everybody listening for spending some time with us and giving us some of your Monte Wyatt magic. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Karl. I appreciate the conversation.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at Focused.com.